Perfect. Start streaming, and we're live. Hey guys, welcome.
Hi. Good evening.
I suppose I should test it and wait for some replies. But how does the audio sound? We are sharing a mic, so it's not going to be perfect. But
Can you hear us loud and clear?
I'm waiting. It's coming home. This started as a joke. We were saying just a bit of fun to stick them on our heads because we love a bobbly thing, but it might be coming home.
I know, 3 weeks in and we're still wearing the headbands. We never thought that this would happen. But here they are.
Here they are.
And hopefully we'll be wearing them next week in celebration one final time.
Because we've beat Spain. We are beating Spain. It's going to happen.
We are beating Spain. It's going to be such an exciting weekend.
If we don't win, then I'm moving to Spain, and then it came home.
So many of my friends are flying to Spain on Sunday. Like loads of people I've spoken to before all this panned out the way it did, they were like, "Oh no!"
Spain.
Like, and now it's England v Spain.
Yeah, depending on how that match goes, you might need some what is it? The where you get your identity hidden so that you're safer. What is that called? We got girlies in the chat. Hey, Anne. Take over.
Please say hello. How are you? Thank you for the audio check. Lexi's out. For her tea right now. Very nice. Well, Lexi, when you're watching this on catch up, hey girl. And
hey girl.
Oops, I completely forgot to pass on the birthday messages, but Meliz and Lexi both messaged me to wish you a happy birthday.
Thanks, girls. I love that.
It was Steph's birthday on Monday of this week.
This young face turned 32.
So we will be celebrating this weekend, and I'm going skating for the first time in my adult life. Bobbing it.
I keep seeing in the chat, it's making me laugh. People are like, do I get skates? Do I bother? Shall I get it?
I've done it. I have booked with Skate Hire, and I'm going to give it a go. And if I'm absolutely rubbish, I'm just going to spectate. Just because I'll have more fun like watching than trying to stay upright. So.
100%. I've been trying to say, like, look, I understand I've picked a ridiculous thing to do for my birthday.
No, you did. I'm glad that you did.
So, you know, I don't want anyone to be like, oh, I don't want to think I'm not joining in for her. Like, that doesn't bother me. However, I will encourage, when will we get this chance again? Have a go. Get some skates.
You never know. If I love it, then I'll be buying a pair, and instead of jogging with you guys, I'll be skating with you guys. So it's my chance to try it and see if it is worth, because I had to buy either running trainers or skates. I was like, okay, so I bought running trainers.
Let's be honest, it was probably more practical that you did. I probably should have done the same thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, what were the chances of going out running in comparison to going out skating? I knew I was going to get out there running, but I feel like you said when we were out, didn't you, to find something that's fun and fitness has been the key.
And you know what? Like, before doing skating, it seemed the same as running. Like, it was something that I'd love to be better at. I'd love to do more. Will I do it? Will I actually end up putting my skates on once I've bought them? And it's the opposite. I love it.
And now you look like a pro as well on that little video. Did you see how, like...
Just that little bit of my legs sliding out.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the awesome video Lindzi made for my birthday, I've watched it over and over again. It's really happy.
Just vibe, innit?
What's that song?
Oh, well... That was on TikTok. Somebody else asked me who it is. I can't remember what her name is now off the top of my head, but I can. Do you want me to find out now?
It's up to you. I don't want to take it away from you. You're
quickly, but
it's a wicked song.
It's called ADHD, and I was looking for different tracks to go over the top of it, and then I thought, oh, I'll search ADHD and see what comes up. But it's a cool one, isn't it?
It's awesome. Okay. I love it. Hey, Lou. And Lexi says hi. Hey, Lexi. Lexi and Meliz, you make it every week. Thanks for coming on this glorious Thursday.
It is May Stevens.
May Steve.
ADHD anthem. May Stevens. Whether she's just a TikTok, like some people produce their songs for TikTok, knowing that that's like their best way to get a TikTok artist, I was saying, you know, like knowing that's the best way for them to get their songs out there.
Oh God, yeah, everyone's making it for TikTok. Right?
Yeah.
What's her name again?
May, M-A-E, Stevens with PH. So shout out May for a very cool ADHD anthem.
I'm sure you really do not need more shouts, but it's awesome. Can I find the lyrics?
Sure. Oh, it does. Yeah, I'm not there saying it. People have searched it for before show.
It's ADHD related. It's all fitting, right?
Yeah, because we're talking about ADHD and comorbidities today. So
as I'm listening to it, because I had to go and because through the app you can find the actual song, right? I have no idea what these. I don't remember what I said 2 minutes ago. I have alarms every minute on my goddamn phone. Spent my entire day lazy, just sat at home, binging shows up in 50 times before.
Like, what was I even singing about?
Got 100 different riddles I can't figure out. Buy the same damn snack so I don't run out. Wow, I feel seen. A little called out. Got a new funny joke, let me tell you about. Oh my god! Why is that? It seems too real to me.
But this is the thing with the ADHD conundrum.
Yeah.
We went to an alternative fair on Sunday and we were chatting to a lad there, weren't we? One of the brand makers, and he said, you know, about his symptoms and his ADHD journey, and we were like, how do we hear this same story over and over? And then people say, oh, and it's not even real. What, I'm afraid there are millions of people that relate to exactly the same level of things. So, you know, even if it is just a personality, well, a neurotype, that is what it is. It is a neurotype, you know.
And if everyone experiences this, then why is the world set up against us? That's what we're trying to make. That's the point we're trying to make.
That is definitely the thing, that actually 20% out of 100% are neurodivergent. That's not really a minority, you know, that's like 1 in 5.
Exactly.
It's, you know, why isn't it set up to support the 1 in 5? It's bizarre. It's very much like, you know, in a garden, when you've got a garden of flowers.
I love an analogy. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You nurture, people put all this effort into nurturing the flowers that don't grow so well, you know, like the roses, and they're creating the right environment and the right situation for these roses to grow. Right. The weeds that just grow all over the place, they're ripping them out. We don't want them, they're weeds, they thrive, you know. So technically, neurotypicals are the weeds and we are the roses, because the weeds thrive anyway. They don't need special circumstances. Do you see what I mean? Like, they just thrive. So it's like, why is it seen in society as the weeds are the better? Oh, well, they're fine. They just grow, and let's not make the special circumstances for the flowers.
That's such a good point. And it's not just the effort, right? So much money is spent by gardeners, people that really take pride in these, like, tropical, like I said, a rose bush, something really delicate, hard things to grow, certain fruits or whatever. I've seen you in your allotments and your gardens and splicing different trees, making them into one another.
Bonsai trees as well. They're so sensitive. I moved my bonsai outside just while I was doing my kitchen. It wasn't like a horrible day like today or anything like that. And it was outside for an hour or so while I cleaned, and it shriveled up and died. It was just like, no thank you, don't change my circumstances. That's how sensitive bonsais are. So it's like,
me as a tree.
And people take such pride in making these grow, but the pride doesn't seem to be there when it comes to humans. It's like, you be a goddamn weed, else you will fail.
So if you ever see your parents out there working real hard in their garden and they're having a go at you because you're not paying attention at school, say, hey, attention to me like you do.
I'm a prized bonsai.
Edit, that rose bush isn't going to be able to graduate and get a nice job and pay the money back you've paid for your whole life. So,
and I've got nothing against weeds. I'm very much like, who says it's a weed anyway, you know? And this is the thing, that they say it's a weed. Basically anything that's invasive and thrives is a weed. So it's just so ironic, isn't it? Because the opposite way around when it comes to a classroom, you know, you're expected just to thrive in this one-size-fits-all environment.
Okay. I mean, I think we need to reclaim the word weed to just mean, like, strong, indestructible, typical. Like, driven, not stopping it. What do you think?
We're like the weeds are the typical.
Typical. You know what, though? It makes me... It's all language, right? When I was learning that there's no such thing as a vegetable, it blew my mind.
What do you mean?
Everything within the vegetable thing becomes something else. Like, name a vegetable.
Oh, I see what you mean. So, like a carrot.
Yeah, that's a root.
Oh, okay.
It's really strange.
What's a broccoli? Because that's above the ground, isn't it? So that one might be a root.
That is a
I'm just testing the recall here. I do remember. I won't remember anything that I read.
What is a broccoli? Not spelled that right. Oh, I have. It is a... Oh, greens.
Okay, cabbage. The cabbage family. Oh, is it a flower? I wonder because it's a big flowering head. Look.
It may be a flower.
Broccoli is classified as a species of. Well, I can't say that. Anyway,
We don't do Latin. Flower. Okay.
or a bud. Oh yeah, so they're all flower buds.
What is a cabbage? Seems to be that.
See, a comorbidity of ADHD is distraction and going off on a tangent.
I mean, that's a hardcore, right?
We're like 10 minutes in, like, what is a cabbage?
Is a...
And this is why we have all this knowledge on so many subjects. Did you know? And this is why we're single.
Did you know? And then you get questioned on it and you're like, let me Google it, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, like, as though you just don't trust your own. Yeah. Like, I know I read it, but now I'm panicking that I might be called out.
It was on a program where really smart people basically put a point forward that's crazy, and then they have to convince you all around it. And it blew my mind. Everything they were shouting out, she was like, "Nope, lagoon. No, that's a this. It's a this. A lagoon, whatever, not a lagoon."
Yeah, I was thinking about that word yesterday because Lou was eating peanuts while we were watching watching the football match, and in my head I was thinking, wonder how you say the word. But I can't see. So there you go. I wondered how you said it, and then Steph said it on Smart Podcast.
I wish we'd had you try and say it first. We could have legume.
That was like, is it a j or a g?
A j or a g?
Legume.
Right.
Legume. Go ahead.
Had any of them legumes?
Yeah.
My mum, I always say, I think I've said it before on here, she calls wasabi wasabi.
Wasabi.
I have to think before, because like no one says wasabi. But she's like, you tried them wasabi peas? And I was like, I know exactly what you've said, but my God.
I feel like there's a joke in there, like, he's now a fly, but he was a bee.
Wait. There is a joke.
If you any of you are still watching, please hit like and subscribe whilst we've got you before we completely
well remembered.
Before we completely put you off.
And I suppose we'll play the intro and then get into it. Right?
Yes, because we've got a lot to cover.
And I can mute us just like this. Wait. No, I can't. I think I just played something.
You're going to have to label the buttons. It's flashing.
It's playing something. I don't know what it is. God knows. Right, okay, now try again. Now I can...
Why is it like this? Haters should be loved, we invite in. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of haters should be loved, we invite in. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous.
We have a new bit of kit.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's very professional, but it's way too techie for my knowledge. There is a button on here, so we found the rim shot, right?
Yeah.
Just when you make a joke. There's one here that is the most iconic soundbite to my life. I couldn't believe, I about cried when I pressed it and I had it. So there is a YouTuber, it's very old, Keemstar. He's notoriously the enemy of the podcast that I watch. And there's a clip where his underage girlfriend is making something and he's like belittling her. And after this thing, he just presses this button like, do and like, H3 always play it because it's like cringe. It's the worst. It's just like, oh, he thought he was doing something. He's in his 40s and he's like got this like 22-year-old girlfriend. And he was like, that's because you have a problem called Gen Z, and just presses this. I've got it. I've got it. I can't believe it. I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's see. No, if that worked, but
let us know.
If that worked, that's the noise.
Hi, Kat. So, congratulations to Arthur. All those little nursery graduations that are happening are the cutest. Like, one of my other bedders, her little son, like, had a little graduation photo. This graduating to primary school now.
I am loving this graduation younger and
It's so
younger thing.
cute.
Like, it's so, oh.
It's cute. Kind of like gives them that sense of achievement, doesn't it? Like, and the end of one era and the start of another.
It's got to be for parents as well, right? To be like, right, you're going from this to this, like, ooh, I need some kind of. I know for me, rituals are really important. I got a new car, Monday, Tuesday, and
You manifested that Rolls Royce.
it's there. I'm rolling. Sedge's gonna laugh at me because I did actually manifest one thing. This whole time I've been like, I don't care what colour it is. I'll have any car. I'll have whatever colour. I really don't mind. And it's not far off brown. Well, it's darker than that. It's called brown / B Max.
It's bronze. It's third place.
Ain't it? But I was all excited about this new car. And then I realised I had to go home and clean my car out to go and swap it the next day, and my heart broke.
Devastating.
I had to make that post just to be like, I need something ritualistic, something end, like a moment. And I sat bawling my eyes out for about half an hour just trying to get it out. Just like, it's a car. Not only is it a car, it's a terrible car. What am I crying over? Do you know what I mean? But
to the end of an era.
Exactly. It's my first car. It's like, so yeah. I could cry sat here thinking about it now.
They change the perspective and be excited about the new chapter, right?
Exactly. And thankfully, this car's a 1.6, and I'm like, so it very much keeps me occupied. But I've got a video of me driving off from the car, of just like my car getting smaller and smaller.
Oh.
And it like, I will make it into a video one day, but I can't do that. It's too sad.
You're like very sentimental, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm a bonsai tree.
Yeah, but with your sense to the world.
Truly. No, wait, don't take that crappy car that breaks down off me. Your phone sent you a photo.
We'll call it the graduation.
Are we ready for a cute picture?
Oh, bless him. He literally looks like my friend's. Can we show it, Kat, on the camera? Let me know, and I will spin it around. He looks so sweet, bless him, in his little gown.
He looks so much older.
Yeah, he does.
Who's that kid? That's not your kid, Kat.
That's amazing, though. Your youngest has now graduated nursery. Like, that must feel like kind of, proper end of an era when the youngest one finishes nursery. Now they're all school age, like.
It must be nuts, right? Even that small amount of time from knowing that they were like this big to now like, oh, bye, see you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What? Like, bless it. So I suppose everyone's kind of ending school, right? Same as you.
Yes, I had my last day teaching today. I've still got tutoring tomorrow, and I'll still have mentoring throughout the summer holidays. But yeah, last day, and it was a really nice day with the students. We did some tarot card reading and we went for lunch. Yeah, it was really like holistic.
I love that.
I'm getting them all. I'm just kind of being really open with my witchy ways, and like it's amazing how many kind of have followed suit. Like every time I go for a walk, I go and introduce myself to a tree and give it a hug and stuff. And like even the most like chavvy of the lads, I look round and they're like, but the way they're smiling is like in an endearing kind of way where it's still going to stick with them even if they never go and hug a tree themselves.
Exactly.
Somewhere that memory is going to like lodge. Like, do you remember that teacher that used to hug trees? Like she was, because they think they like me, so it's not like
exactly.
So it's associating these things with somebody that they've got respect for anyway.
They're going to have girlfriends down the line, and one of them's going to hug a tree, and they're going to be like, "Oh, Miss Lindzi used to do that." And she'll be like, she was a solid girl, actually.
Well, also, there's two things actually. Just quickly, I know that I'm sidetracking again, but it's a comorbidity of ADHD.
With us.
So one of the lads, he actually said, can we go and see that tree that we connected with again? And he'd been thinking about it all night. And I think I've reminded him how much he used to connect with nature. Now he's in his teens, it's like, not cool, and he's forgotten about it.
Yeah, man.
And we went over to this tree and he went, "Hi, said his name, what's your name? Can you see me?" Because I've been saying to them about like there's now scientific evidence that these plants can see us and can hear us, can sense us and things like that. Wow. And as he said it, the whole branch of the tree went like that straight into his chest. Even I was a bit like, oh my God. Like, it was, the moment was so magical because he was like, that was all the confirmation he needed that he was connecting with that tree, which was just incredible.
That's awesome.
And then, like, when we were talking, he was like, oh, you know, I'm really going to use nature more as, like, a chill out. So it just, like, reconnected into that, to another tool, which is getting outside in nature. Because James told us, didn't he, that 20 minutes of being in a green space 3 times a week can actually manage your ADHD symptoms that a little bit better.
That's fantastic.
And then one of the other girls I was really proud of, because she's been quite hard work. It's been a journey getting her to kind of connect with any of the members of staff. But me and her have started to, like, find some common ground now, yeah. And I'd really noticed how kind of naturally spiritual she is, even though she doesn't necessarily realise she is, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
And even, like, her name suggested that her parents were, because why would they name her that? And I'd, like, touched upon it and stuff. Well, then she said that she was at another course, because they come to different courses and we're one of them. And someone, I don't know whether it was a staff member or a student, went, oh, you're not one of those crystal girls, are you? And she went, actually, yes, I think I am. Oh. Which, that in itself made me so proud of her, because she stood up for herself. She wasn't afraid to do that in the face of being, like, laughed at. But not only that, apparently then another girl at the table went, actually, so am I really like them. Now, if she hadn't had the balls to kind of, or the vagina, because balls are soft and weak, if she hadn't have had the vagina to say, actually, I think I am, that other girl would have just sat there and felt kind of like, oh God, I am one of those crystal girls. Like, how shameful. So, yeah, you know, a couple of little breakthroughs, because comorbidity of ADHD, you can be quite outside of the box thinking and spiritual and, you know, like, have these more different beliefs and then get ridiculed for it.
Yeah.
So,
I think from an early age, you kind of, you know, if a teacher's being like, you just need to concentrate, and you're like, but it's more than that. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Even just that one symptom alone can make from a young age go, adults don't know what they're on about.
Yeah.
Therefore, I will not blindly follow the things that they say. Therefore, you know, oh, you don't like that music, do you? Almost makes me like that music more.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Oh, you don't want to wear that, do you? Now I do. I was going to change, but now I'm wearing it.
These kids that come to our unit, they're very perceptive, and they will just say, well, what's the point? Why are you trying to make me do that? And instead of these teachers going, oh, actually, it's because that's what you've got to do to pass this test, the teachers are like, how dare you be so disrespectful? Get out! So, like, do you know what? They're kind of right when you stop and, like, take a moment. Before we get really into this convo, then, Kat's gave permission for me to share this really cute photo. How cute is that? Like, oh...
A little stunner.
Very, very, very sweet.
Congratulations, Arthur. Off to big school.
Love it.
How did you do going off to big school? Did you go to nursery or anything first?
Well, where we lived, I started school earlier. So I think we was in quite, like, a deprived area. So they started school at, like, 4 or something like that. So I remember that. And that was before I came to a village. So when I started at a village school, everyone was only just starting. I'd already had a year.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
In school, and I was very, very well liked whilst I was younger. The teachers loved me. I was a keen learner. I was chatty. I was bright. I was intelligent. Picked everything up super quick. Like, loved it. Loved socialising. The only thing was when I went to the school in the village, I think they got confused about what year I was in, perhaps because I'd already been in school for a little bit, and they put me in the year above. And
my word.
And I was going home to my mum going, it's so hard. I remember being in the shower one day and her sitting on the bath, like, on the toilet, like, behind the shower curtain and chatting to me. And, like, she was obviously teaching me to shower by myself or whatever, but was still in the room. And I was saying to her, it's really, really hard, though. I don't get it. And now, bear in mind, I'd never been in that position. I'd always, like, got everything.
Yeah.
And her saying, oh, well, it will be. You know, it's big school now. It's not the same as, like, the school you were at before. And then,
even that alone, you go into an adult, something ain't right, and they're going, don't worry, that's normal. And you're like, I don't feel normal.
Yeah, and I remember copying from this girl, like, she didn't want to let me copy the answers, and I was like, please, like, begging her. Like, it was this maths work, and I'd coloured the giraffe in because that was the only thing I could recognise what needed doing, so I beautifully coloured in this giraffe. And eventually she showed me some of the answers, and this teacher popped up from behind the desk and was like, I knew it, I knew you were copying. Well, then, like, so I was then, oh my God, I'm going to be in so much.
Cheers for being in my nightmares the rest of my life.
And then they called my mum in and they said to my mum, does Lindzi have trouble with reading and writing? And she went, reading and writing? She's only just learnt the alphabet. And they went, oh, well, that's all right then. And mum was like, no, that's not all right then. What do you mean?
And
like,
how are you with your numbers? Because apparently you think she's a whole one number up in age.
But then, like, weirdly, I also remember going up to this teacher. We had this thing that we had to do. It was a paragraph you had to put in full stops and capital letters. I knew what a full stop and a capital letter was. I didn't know. I couldn't read. So it's strange because I've got this memory of looking at this gobbledygook on paper. You know, like, who can actually remember looking at illegible text because you can't read it? I suppose it's like looking at Spanish if you can't read Spanish. And thinking, right, together this big red pencil, and I was just slapping in whichever capitals I knew of some of the letters. Oh, I know what the capital of R is. I'll bang that one in. Like, oh, there's an S. I know what the capital of that is. I'll bang that one in. And then, like, put a few full stops in, and I was, like, well up to the front. And I remember thinking, something's not right because no one else has done. There's no way.
I've done that.
No way that everyone else is, like, not understanding this and I've done this. And I remember giving it to the teacher, and I remember the way she, like, looked up, like, no, that's not right. You need to try again. And I could see there was something not right, but I couldn't work out what it was. And I was just desperately floundering, trying to get it right.
If you're a teacher and it is really wrong, don't look at a kid like that.
I suppose I was new to the class, and she must have been thinking, oh my God, this kid has got serious, like, disabilities. She can't read, she can't write, she doesn't understand what she's doing. So I only just know, I'm chuffed because I know A to Z, mate. I don't know what they said.
I'm a baby. Stop judging me.
So yeah,
6-year-old.
I've been scarred for life, but probably am. Probably that's where my first level of trauma came from.
Hey, I got through in a year above me. Like, I can do anything. Of course, you can drive a bus.
I mean, that does show like how well I was at masking, because I think I was in that class like 6 months. Like, there's something wrong.
You think something's wrong with the schooling system? Like, Jesus Christ, if that's happening.
I know.
Lexi had to go because she's on the bus right now.
Oh, bless her. Well,
bus days.
Yes, we'll catch up with you next week. Enjoy your tea, if that's where you're going for your tea.
Bless her.
So how was your school days?
I wasn't necessarily, people didn't love me until I maybe drew a bit, and people were like, oh, isn't she good? It was just she's nice, she's lovely, didn't really pay much attention. When she applies herself, great, but like, yeah, I just kept myself to myself, was generally quite quiet. In nursery school, I remember being kind of like the badass popular one, which is really weird. It's the opposite of that from the rest of school. I remember there was 2 lads that fancied me, and one guy that used to be like, my princess, and he'd like, it's obviously seen his fair share of Disney films, and he'd like get on his knee and like hold my hand, and he'd like kiss my hand, and I'd be like, get off. And I remember one assembly where he like leant over and was like, you're my girlfriend, and he did something, and I just bit him. I was like, you are not my boyfriend. Bye.
If only you could still behave like that. You'd only get grabbed in the pub, like, bite them. You deserve it. Really animalistic though, which is common with the autism diagnosis in younger kids in particular. Growling, bites, that kind of almost like I see it as quite back to your roots.
I don't have brothers and sisters either, so it's very like, it's a new thing interacting with like other children that are my same age and wanting the same things at the same time. Like, there was my cousin that I grew up with, but I only saw him really at summertime. But yeah, I remember trying my primary school, being like, it's sick there, it's so big, there's so many people, I get this cool uniform.
Nice.
And I remember very quickly, it must have been year 2 when I started being like, it was maths. I got to a lesson and it made me feel like everyone had a whole like year's worth of lessons without me, or at least a couple, because everyone was doing their times tables. And I was like, hold on, I know maybe 2 up till 20.
Yeah.
And 1 times table.
Yeah.
10 times table up to 100. You know what I mean? That was like it. And I was just not grasping it. And as people were like explaining it, you know, it's this many times of this. And I'm like, I get that, and I can work that out for a long time. How are you just going, it's this? And people go, oh, well, you've got that grid, right? The grid times table. unless I had that grid to be able to do that, I'd just be like, oh my God, I hate this. And I'm like,
yeah.
how is anyone doing it without the grid?
Yeah, yeah. It could be a touch of dyscalculia though, because that's the
gotcha.
letter spoken about version of dyslexia. And now that when I get my kids, the first thing I say to which one do you prefer, English or maths? And a lot of the ADHD ones prefer English, a lot of the autistic ones prefer maths. It's just quite like a quick way of sorting my kids, but I could not grasp maths. It's almost like when I just got to like 20 odd, it started to make sense.
Yeah.
That bit of my brain finally wired up.
I don't think I liked any until Rawlins, when one of my teachers was like, you shouldn't be in here. You're a little bit smarter than the rest of the people in it, as you say. And I got moved up, and I feel like that was just an ego thing. You know, it helped me. It gave me like a bit of like, oh,
boost.
Hey, I'm smarter than the people in here. Okay, let's go to this new class. And it's almost like, how much cleverer is this class? Do you know what I mean? I got to really concentrate now. But the teacher was wicked, and he saw things in me, and he was like, come back and do it for A-level. And I was like, I will do, but I never ended up doing it. Thank you, Rawlins. That was your fault. You can't do double art and English at the same time. You better have changed that.
Ironically, the way me and Steph present is very different. Like, I present with the hyperactive side of ADHD and you're the inattentive side. And the inattentive side in girls is when they say that it's not picked up on because they're just seen as dolly daydreamers, and, you know, and girls tend to mask a little bit better and things like that. But I wasn't picked up either. And I was the chatty, hyperactive, you know, the talkativeness was obvious, still is now. Like, and it still wasn't picked up. I just wanted to put that out there while we were talking about our school days, that, you know, they say, oh, this one, that, like, you know, the reason girls aren't picked up is because they tend to be inattentive, they tend to daydream, blah, blah, blah. I didn't. I was like, you know, very out there, confident, loud, and all the a troublemaker, you know. My mum used to get called in so much for me being mischievous.
Yeah, see, I'll have to ask my mum. I don't remember getting called for mischievousness. It was being poorly. It was, oh, she doesn't want to do this sort of thing, and it would be, you know, not exactly being told off. It'd be parents' evenings where I struggles to pay attention, or report cards and stuff. That's the only time I'd really get feed.
Yeah, because you weren't making a problem of yourself.
Exactly.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's that kind of just falling below.
Yeah.
Well, in like this slipstream of kids where you're not turning tables and you're not making a problem of yourself, but you're not reaching your potential either, and it's the damage it's doing to your self-esteem in the background.
And I remember, like, you'd get a question right at school, and I'd just be looking up like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing here. But somehow going to the teacher and being like, I don't understand this, sounds like foreign. Like, I just can't do that in front of the people. But looking back on it, I wish I'd done that so much more. I don't know how well my teachers would have responded. You know, it's not like they picked up on any of my neurodivergence or anything, but
they're not trained to. This is the crazy thing. They're still not. It's still not part of the teacher training. Like, so many teachers that I deal with just have no, unless they themselves have explored ADHD and autism, the way they understand it is how it's been presented on a black and white piece of paper. So it's not recognised because it's not how it's presented on a piece of paper, if you see what I mean.
So, this is why we want the comorbidities to be understood, right, and to be looked at in people, because
they're more obvious clues.
Exactly. It all fits, right? It's as if, like, all the pieces for the jigsaw puzzle were there, and people that were there to look after me never made this puzzle.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, and I'm not saying, oh, if you've got eczema, then you must definitely have ADHD. No. It's just you know...
But I'll put it out there, every person I know with eczema is ADHD. So there's definitely something to be said about that.
100%.
You know, that those or even if they're not completely ADHD, they have trouble with their focus, trouble with their senses. Like, you know, that picture is still there where it's not just eczema.
100%. And it makes me worried, right? Like, how much are people being misdiagnosed? How much are people getting misinformation about the things that they're going through? Like, I always say it with my skin. My dermatologist never asked me how it affected my mental health, and my doctor never asked me how. Vice versa. But the other way is.
It's that full picture, and that's why a different human design exists, because ADHD is not just as simple as, oh, I have trouble with my focus.
Yeah.
Because actually, a lot of us have hyperfocus, so we can focus very well on if we're utilising all of our interests, then you might not even notice you have trouble with your focus because you're absolutely fine when you're doing things that you enjoy. So it is about bringing that fuller picture. And I was, when I was younger, I had psoriasis, which is similar to eczema. I was taken to the doctors for like eating disorders because of things like not wanting to touch the metal fork in my mouth and struggling with other people eating, the sounds of people eating and textures. So I had very strange eating habits, which is sensory
The knife and fork one is one for me. If someone puts a knife and fork together or wants me to eat out of a metal container with a metal fork.
Oh, yeah, like
yeah, exactly. It makes your ears go, right?
Yeah.
And it makes the back of my teeth feel like they're like being electrocuted.
It's that strange, like,
the amount of time like someone will do something and I'll be like, how can you do? Oh my god! And it's so funny watching you make the same because it literally as if you're being like zapped by electricity in the back of your head, and you like it's weird and strange.
But I also rebelled. Is that the right word?
Rebellious.
Yeah, I was very rebellious, very non-conformist, and left-handed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's others, but and struggled really badly with periods.
Right.
Like very painful periods and very irregular and all of that. And actually now I understand that forms that bigger picture. And you know, if somebody had looked at me and said, right, she's got psoriasis, she's left-handed, she's very non-conformist and rebellious, very chatty, which is one of the ADHD symptoms for girls, hyperactive. She's got sensory processing disorder. Potentially this girl might have emotional dysregulation, rejection sensitivity. That would have saved me so much hell in my teens and my 20s, and so much trauma, just understanding that I was perhaps a little bit more emotional than other people, you know, it would have been so helpful.
But again, you're emotional as a teenager and you just get written off as a teenager.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I get that we're all emotional, but while she's like a little bit off, I'm literally on my own like, do you know what I mean? It's like, there's a difference.
When I read the poetry I was writing at that age, it's heartbreaking because I was clearly suffering.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my God, you know.
God, yeah.
But it's just that lack of connecting the dots. I think that's what frustrates me, is that you know, our medical professionals have yet to kind of make those connections.
Yeah, definitely. The importance for me is I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD and bipolar. That's another comorbidity until I was 18, 20, around that age.
Which is, compared to the people we've interviewed recently, quite young.
Quite young, most definitely. But when I think about all the problems that I have, eczema, indigestion, digestive problems, immune system, there's a load of them,
flexible joints, like
yeah. You see this?
Yeah, I hyperextend. Bendy arms, look at that. What did I do?
It's that way.
When I was doing pole dancing lessons, like I held my arm out to hold my body straight, and she was like, "Oh my God, your arm's gonna snap." I was like, "It's not, it's fine."
I didn't realise till I was at school and I was talking to a teacher and I was just leant on the thing like that, and literally another teacher went, "Ugh."
And
Jesus.
If that teacher knew that eczema and flexible joints was a potential symptom of ADHD, then the kind of thought process,
a reason as to why maybe I'm not doing that well here at this college may have indicated, oh, let's go and get her an ADHD diagnosis so we can actually support the person. Because that's why the diagnosis is important, right? People say, why do you need this label? It gets me the support I need with the bodies that will give it to me.
And even if that support is down to supporting yourself, for me, it's been very much a personal journey of the rejection sensitivity thing that I mentioned. When I first read that, I cried because I felt so seen. I was like, oh, not everybody physically feels this kind of like rejection and pain, and you know, and it made me realise like I'm not a freak, I'm not a weirdo, like I'm not alone type thing. And that's the important thing for me.
I remember Googling my symptoms a long time ago and it coming up with borderline personality disorder. And it did kind of, you know, you're going through the list and you're like, that does kind of fit. But then you're in yourself like, I don't feel like I'm that narcissistic. I don't feel like... And if you're a narcissist, you don't have those feelings. There's no part of you that's like, wait, what's wrong with
am
I?
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me like, and the more I'm learning about how ADHD, autism affects you, every single aspect of your life, the more it's like, okay, that fits. You know, we're understanding that it's different knobs switched up in different areas, whatever the symptom is, right?
Yeah.
But that fits me way better than, I don't know.
It's, you know, like some of the girls that I talk to at college and when I'm teaching, it's that quickness to label our ups and downs as bipolar that frustrates me, because for me that is the highs and lows of ADHD. I can be really hyper one minute and then really low and down in the dumps the next. But I've never considered myself bipolar. I've always considered it ADHD highs and lows. And the trouble is with the teens that are then being told, oh, well, by CAMS, oh, you're bipolar. They're then like, oh yeah, I'm just crazy, you know, that like my mum's bipolar as well. And I'm like, it's because they didn't understand ADHD. And
it's this
and
idea that bipolar is like this, like, you know, off the wall diagnosis where it's like, it's just a different set of symptoms, just like ADHD, just anxiety, you know, it's a mood imbalance.
Can I just list some of the...
I'd love it. I'm going to work out...
things, just so that we've kind of gave almost like a... Because I know that we're mentioning ones, then we're moving on.
So
just list a few of them. So
stick up finger up for ones that you know are yours as well.
Okay, so asthma, migraines. I get visual migraines. Fibromyalgia, IBS, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease, restless leg syndrome. My grandma used to struggle with that. Epilepsy, eczema, psoriasis, tendonitis, which is similar to fibromyalgia in terms of pain in the joints.
Not gonna lie, I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, I think I'm getting fibromyalgia. Tic disorders. I do sometimes wonder if I get tics because my face, I get like a lot of the facial ones.
Oh, right, yeah.
Chronic pain, celiac disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or hyperflexible joints, high blood pressure and low blood pressure. So
low blood pressure.
Low blood pressure. And carpal tunnel is also related. They're just some of them that I've got listed. So I'm on 6 so far.
8.
But then there's also autism, anxiety, dyspraxia. Yeah. So,
running out of fingers.
You know, your mental health problems, the other neurotype.
Yeah.
Things, they're so like overlapping type thing. Like I literally fit all the things for dyspraxia.
Yeah.
Which it can be clumsy and coordination problems, getting the order of things right, like realising you put your trousers and not put your pants on yet, things like that, or like you know,
every time I get ready for school.
And then what was the other one that I was just thinking in my head then? Oh, being left-handed. I know that sounds daft. But
no, yeah.
The rate of left-handedness that comes through my classroom, and I've not figured out why yet. I'm so interested in that topic.
I've got a theory. Again, pure theory. It's not based on anything necessarily. So when we're saying from an early age, right, we've got this lack of trust, which makes you kind of go this alternative, like, oh, well, I'll at least be curious enough to look at this direction. Left-handedness, you know, it's just another thing. A teacher's telling you do this, and you're like,
yeah,
no, I do. How many more people would be left-handed? I wonder.
If they weren't forced.
Yeah, I feel like that's really interesting.
When I was really interested in it and to try to find some research about 10 years ago, and there was nothing out there. But then when I dipped into it about a year or two ago, there was way more research, which I was
very
like,
cool.
This is so exciting. But one of the things is that, you know, like our nervous system and the way that our nervous system is connected, that actually left-handers, everything is mirrored. So it's not just which is your dominant hand, it's how you physically, your spatial awareness, how you physically see things. It's like everything about your setup is the opposite, which I find so fascinating. Like, is that true? Because, you know, like the lefty loosey, righty tighty thing, me and my mum were on the bus. I was like, right, well, it's lefty loosey, and I started turning it that way, and she was like, yeah, but Lindsay, that's right. And I was like, no, it's not, I'm turning it to the left. And she was like, no, that's to the left. And I can't remember which way around it was now.
That's well good.
I was like, no wonder lefty loosey's never worked. I think it's the opposite. It's just a bit strange.
I tried saying, no, you know, it's imagine a clock, and she was like, I don't know anti-clockwise or clockwise. I was like, right, well, that's another problem in itself.
But going back to that list, the reason that we're sharing it is because if you're sat there thinking, right, well, I've got asthma, I've got eczema, and I've got IBS, And I also struggle
Yeah.
emotionally, like when I look, like if you look at the areas of your life, like your work life, your family life, your social life, your romantic life, if one or more of those areas is problematic as well, then it could be worth thinking, right, is there more to this?
Yeah.
You know, have I got emotional dysregulation, sensory processing disorder, rejection sensitivity? Those things can affect so many like areas.
It sucks, right, that we have to be the ones to think about it, think so deeply about it. But one of the reasons that I feel really strongly about doing that is because I'm sure you're the same. You go to the doctors with these feelings and it's instant, oh, you may be depressed. Here's some SSRIs. And you're like...
Especially if you're female, that tends to be the case. I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
Get some pills.
I remember I think my mum said as young as 14 I went to the doctors without her knowing. And she only knew because she found the SSRIs. Because he gave me them and I was like, that doesn't seem right. No one even spoke to me. Like, how do you know what's wrong with me? Do you know what I mean? When I go to see about my eczema, you want to look at it. You want to, you know, the experience was so different. And I just thought, I'm not comfortable taking this. And thank God I didn't, because it wasn't until years later when they prescribed me them again that set me into my a worst manic episode of my life.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to do with the with your menstruation as well. So with your periods, like
your hormones are insane.
All of my girls at school really suffer with the pain and stuff like that. And my mum took me to the doctors for that, and they were so dismissive. Like, because mum was like, "Well, she's doing a GCSE soon. Like, if it happens to fall on a day when she's got an exam, she's not going to be able to concentrate." And I just don't think they realise how painful it actually is. Like, you know, it's another area that I've not done an awful lot of research in, but we follow accounts that's purely what they do, and there's a real big connection now between being ADHD and having these problematic periods.
I'm learning that everything that I seem to be developing, and it's weird. We were saying all you have to do is read about it, and you're like, wait.
I've got that.
And that's scary, right? Because as a psychotherapist, I understand that there is a sense of confirmation bias, right? Like, oh, I do that too. Oh, I do that. I must have that. But like, just the same as when you are going through your diagnosis and your parent goes, hold on, I might have that. That sounds like me. You know, it's not a symptom of like confirmation bias. It's people actually learning about themselves, like in actual time. They say the pain from a period is as bad as a heart attack.
Wow.
Do you know what? The reason... New Year's Eve, right? I went to the hospital for pain with my... I'm saying my ovaries, right? I'm just in that hospital going, it feels like my ovary's going to explode. And I had about 5 different blokes look at me go, are you sure it's not period pains? And I was like, I don't care what it is.
Stop, make it stop.
Make it fit. And since getting sent home from there, all they did was send me a load of codeine. Also, what are you doing? I've got bipolar, dude. They don't just send me stuff that I can be addicted to. Like, didn't even bother. They were just like, here's a load of pain medication.
Absolutely nuts.
And then I'm reading on the internet that endometriosis is the second most common gynecological problem.
Yeah.
So why is it taking 10 years, doc?
Yeah, to even think about it being potentially being one of the reasons.
And this is what winds me up, because quite a lot as a therapist, you get talked down to by psychiatrists, actual medical doctors, as if we're like, oh, we just read some theory and we talk about emotions. And it's like, do you know how deep in theory we have actually learnt this stuff?
Yeah.
That we can actually identify this just by someone expressing their emotions or how they feel.
Yeah.
You could be taking scans, CT things, swabs, shoving things in me, telling me, are you sure it's not period pain? And you still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But I can talk to someone and hear, like...
They can all relate and say...
jog on.
I mean, when we talk about, like, being an ADHD or autistic person, I think the reason that I don't think Steph's experience has been as positive as mine, but I think one of the reasons mine has been so positive is that I'm surrounded by friends that are also, and obviously I'm hoping that you've found that a little bit more now,
most definitely,
community and stuff, that being around other people that get it is like one of the most helpful and healing things that you can do. But I'm aware that there's people out there watching this that are very isolated and that are the black sheep of their group and things like that. And that must be like such a different feeling.
I know that even in the past groups that I've grown up with, I know there's people that were like, oh, I think I have like a bit of autism, but like it's not that bad. And it's like, just that level of understanding of yourself. Like, how much are you not giving yourself support? Okay, so you understand that you're a little bit autistic. What does that mean? Yeah, I'm a bit awkward. What else does that mean, though? What else of your life? Because when I think back to these people, they also had IBS, anxiety, depression.
So how are they acting behind
abuse.
closed doors?
Yeah.
That substance abuse thing, we've not touched upon that, and that is a good call. I'm so glad you said that. I've been driving home like
that's the bridge. Start a new life. We need to go back.
Because that is definitely where my untreated, unrecognised ADHD led me, and a life of using nicotine, using alcohol, and then using alcohol led to making horrific choices that then add to my mental health. It's like, if we can start to unravel that for some of you lot earlier, that's amazing.
Yeah, if we can just get into your minds and help you a little earlier than
sugar, caffeine, shopping, gambling, sex,
Yeah.
I mean, we had a fantastic conversation at the weekend, didn't we, with an ADHD addiction coach called James Hansen.
Shout out, James.
He is fantastic. It was a really lovely conversation, and fabulous meeting somebody else that, yet again, we just gel with, because ADHD people just tend to, I don't know, feel the same energy kind of thing.
I'm getting the point now where when we meet people, I just want to lean and go, let me just cut you right there. Let me guess. You're late diagnosed. But everything makes sense now. You really want to help people now that you've understood yourself better. Now we've got that out of the way, because that's everyone we seem to speak to.
We are the generation that's breaking those cycles for future generations. Like I like to, when I was first designing this whole thing, I was trying to think of something along the lines of, we are this army of people that are trying to fight for a better future type thing.
There was a post I saw online, and it was a dude walking home from like a session, and he was like, do you know what? You say a lot about these youngsters. And he was like, I've just been with some pints or whatever. Some guy went, hey, aren't you the guy that drinks or whatever? And he said, yeah, whatever. And he was like, that's gay. And he said his cousin, who's about 21, turned around and goes, don't fucking say that. And he was like, he can drink what he wants, he can say what he wants, get out. And he was like, I couldn't believe this lad had just called his own mate out.
Oh, nice.
In a jokey way.
Yeah.
Not in a weird way. He was like, these young people do not care. They're not here for niceties. Even within a friendship group, they will hold each other accountable. And I love that.
Do you know what? PDA, that's something that we've not spoken about with these comorbidities. Pathological demand avoidance. That's something that I've noticed pretty much all of my students struggle with. And they're only struggling with it because of the way that the world is set up. There's so many demands. And I've realised that I've got quite a PDA profile. And I've recognised this by recognising that people around me, I attract people. So why would I see it in them? Clearly I am PDA too. But PDA, I think that this younger generation, they're very much like, well, why should we? I mean, that was something I always got in trouble with. She's always asking why.
Because teachers that haven't got an answer, you scare them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, some of mine sit there and they go, yeah, but why have I got to do that? And I'm like, do you know what? Thank you for raising that point, because it gets me thinking, actually, there is some answers like, well, because it opens the next door. I'm not saying that's right, but the way the system is set up is, if you jump through this hoop, the next door will open for you. But that is as simple as that. And I think we've been sent this generation of kids that are questioning it because the system needs to change.
If I had a teacher that was just like, look, this bit right here, you'll never use again. But if you just do it now, then we'll get over it and we'll never go past it. I'd be like, amen. But if I go, why do we have to do this? And they go, it's your future, Stephanie. You don't have to do it if you don't. As if like, I'm just asking why.
I just want to know why. Like, it's a simple. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to genuinely get to the bottom of why.
If there wasn't for my brain, right? If it was just neurotypicals, and let's say, I don't know, an alien species came down, I'll be screwed. You'd be like, that's it, going off. Like, it's me that's going, why?
Hold on a minute.
Saving us all.
And this is another, work out if you're ADHD or not. Do you question every rule? I mean, if the rule is obvious, like I've always said this, that say if you go up high on a mountain and there's a fence and it's like, do not go beyond this point, and I can see there's a crumbling 100-foot drop the other side, I don't need to question that rule. I can see why. But if the rule is, you've all got to wear a pressed white shirt with a collar, I want to know, but why have we?
Yeah.
And even if the answer is because then we all look the same.
Mate, if everyone was like, we all have to have lip piercings and pink hair, I'd still be like, why?
Yeah,
Why do we all need it?
not being rude, I just would like to know why, what the reasoning behind it is.
Yeah.
To me,
It's not obvious. I want to know why.
If somebody can't answer me why, that's usually a massive indicator that there's something wrong. Because if you can't, sometimes the kids say, but why can't I vape inside? And I'm like, because, or why have I got to wait 10 minutes to go outside? And I'm like, you haven't got to wait 10 minutes. I'm asking you to wait 10 minutes because it'll make it easier for the rest of the school if we all stick to the timings. And I would like it if you would wait 10 minutes. And the reason why is because it is actually illegal to vape inside. And that's the only, so I'll explain why. I won't lose my cool. There you ask me why.
Exactly. Like, do not ruin these skills that we want adults to have, right?
That's the thing, isn't it? And this is why I do think this younger generation, the older generation, are very quick to say, oh, there's all these labels. Do you want it to carry on the way it's been the whole time then?
I know.
Because, that's just not how things happen anyway. Things do change.
Exactly. It makes me laugh because you listen to me like, oh, well, I never did well at school. And then you talk about changing stuff and it's like, oh, you're never going to change that. That's the school, innit? That's the government.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's like the powers that be. And you're like...
Well, I'd like to think we'll change it. I would like to think that there's hope.
And I understand certain older people. You get to a point in your life, you're like, if I've not seen any change now, then what's the point? But I'm not dead yet. I want to make some change happen.
By the time I'm gone from this worldly planet, I would like to see education at least burnt to the ground so that the future generation can rebuild it. Even if smashing it down and rebuilding it's a bit beyond my reach for this lifetime, then
hey, I'll bring my sledgehammer. Let's bring this stuff in.
I've got my ride at dawn. But hopefully by us kind of like listing some of these, it just is to get people thinking, isn't it? Go down the route of research.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything we didn't mention? Is there something you're like, wait, I have this problem? Is that related? Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Put it in the comments below.
And I'm sure that we'll think of more, but that is the beauty of how broad this spectrum is. It's kind of like everything's interconnected.
Kind of wonderful, really.
Yeah. But if you're sat there like, oh, my label's really doing my head in, I could feel the seams on the socks. Like,
shout out to True Vibes Clothing, by the way, who has no labels in their clothing.
Yeah.
It's all really high quality prints.
Yeah, they're not stiff and like thingy.
I got the same one as Kat. How gorgeous is that? And Lindzi got me a load more stuff for my birthday as well.
We
do a haul, try on haul.
We met the founder Peter behind True Vibes Clothing, which we've shouted him out before, haven't we? Because I've worn some of their some of the clothes, and yeah, we met him on Sunday when we went to the Goths Playground in Birmingham.
It was awesome.
It was really cool. I could have spent. I was like, oh my god, I've like literally spent like 50 quid. Like, I need to stop.
I know we've got this festival coming up where I was hoping to at least try and make some money back, but it's just not going to happen, is it? We spent too much already.
It's good though. It was nice. It was a nice day out, and we to kind of take I know we were kind of working, so we're taking a bit of footage, but it was nice to just do something for the sake of doing it, because I feel like sometimes I get so caught in this.
Yeah.
But what are you doing it for? Like, for the sheer enjoyment. You're alive, aren't you? You're not just here to work.
I thought it was wicked, and you brought it up randomly the day before, like, do you fancy this? And I was like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm very thankful for you being very off the cuff and spontaneous, because you know what I used to be, and I've had so many people be like, you joking, are you not thinking it through, or you can't be right. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe not, no beach at night, okay. But in my head I'm like, that's fun though, why wouldn't? And it's like you're bringing it back to me. You're like, so I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's even if we decide to turn around and come back, at least we tried.
So, and how much does that happen as well? Like, we'll have dinner with them, we're like, should we just save on parking and head back? So
yeah,
it's like, let's go.
Exactly. You've got to go with it. I love that though. You've another gift waiting for you.
Not freaking wait to give you a present. Oh, Kat, honestly, I can't believe no one needed to get me gifts. That's so sweet. I think I've still got everyone's Christmas present.
Yeah, I'm going to say, we're not even touching upon the ADHD traits, just the things that come with it. Like.
That's like a multiple part series, right? There's way too many things in there.
Just by watching a couple of our episodes, you'll kind of like get an understanding to some of the presentations of it.
I mean, I think between us, we cover quite a lot of the typical
Oh yeah,
portrayals, profiles.
indeed.
I mean, all you need to do is have me in a room with the police, and I'm like,
Doing that biting thing again.
I'd bite them if I could. Yeah. For what reason? I'm a white kid from suburbia. What am I scared of the police for?
Yeah, you know, I get scared every time I see a police car. I'm like, we've done something wrong.
Hey, no, it's yeah. Don't police me. Go in the bank accounts of the rich. Check out that fraud. Anyway, I'm going off on one. I do feel like since Labour got in, there's a weight lifted from me. I'm nowhere near as depressed as I felt at the start of this year. Off the last, I don't know,
Let's
13 years.
let's hope to see.
Turns
positive
out-
changes.
Not got bipolar, it was just the Conservatives. I'm actually fine. Peace. I leave you to do
That's,
it. But that is it. That is all.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And if you haven't hit that like button, please do it. Let's run us up on the algorithm.
I'm just pointing at the like button. It's
Oh, that was
down there.
Round.
I didn't have time to put the thing up. I was figuring out the audio. Hopefully it was worth it.
I completely forgot that green for it to work.
It does have to be green.
The background would change. Okay.
That's why this wouldn't show last week.
Oh, there we go.
Curious Closet. Tomorrow we have Lindzi Illuminates It, which she's supposed to be last Friday. You're right. That's on me. And
It's been, I think, late every time. So we're just highlighting our.
very obvious ADHD way.
I got distracted then.
ADHD.
Oh, Meliers, I don't want the stream to end. Do you know what? I was so tired driving here, but I knew that having this chat had livened me up, and it has.
I'm the same. I'm hoping end of July, first few days in August, if it's possible, do the 6-hour stream. Raise a bit of money. Have some fun. We've got a few people that we could possibly chat to. Like we met at the weekend. And at that peace event. I wonder if those ladies
A
there.
few people in.
So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy that. And if anyone's catching the England game on Sunday, hey,
Excited. I don't even know if I can bear to watch it. If last night's nerves are anything to go by, I felt horrendous. I was like, I think I just need to go to bed.
I was the same. When it comes, I was like, I don't want penalties. I don't want penalties.
Yeah.
I just want to win now. I just
Yeah,
want
that's how I- and then I couldn't. God, amazing. Even walking home, I still felt like we were going to get a call. Like, no, sorry, we made a mistake.
And we've had another point taken off us.
Oh, amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We love you all too.
Love you
the-
guys.
Yeah, look, it's so nice. Makes me so happy.
I don't want to leave either now. We'll be thee. We're there. Sorry, so excited. I do that all the time. We'll be thee. We will be thee. We'll all be thee.
We are all thee.
I am thee in the here and he.
I think it's the stupidity of ADHD making like jokes out of even the most awful traumatic situations. I was thinking about that like earlier. Definitely one of my traits.
Oh God, yeah, some of the darkest.
The more serious the internal pain, the more I joke.
Obviously, needs brightening, right? It's a crappy subject. Right. I don't. I'm just trying to think of more things to say now before we leave.
Just here.
We will be the. I'm just reading it again. Haha, we'll be the.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, can do. Shout out somebody from Patreon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Indeed. Let me just quickly run my eyes over all these beautiful Patreon supporters that we have. I tell you what, this week we will shout out our wonderful Mark from the USA.
Shout out Mark from Michigan.
Yes, well remembered. Thank you for choosing to support us on Patreon. It means the world.
We love you, Mark. And I think your post should be getting to you. I think you might be in Canada right now if you're not home already. But hopefully it's there waiting for you when you get back. That'd be cool. You know what, to end it, I found Keemstar's Rim Shop, so you can actually hear what I'm on about. Because it didn't play earlier. And then we'll
go.
Peace and love, get out
That's
of
for
it.
someone who donated.
Oh my god, he's lost so much weight since this was filmed. This is hilarious. Sorry. OBS. Show you what we're doing. Okay.
God,
This will be worth it.
Like, which screen?
on
Which
his
screen?
stream. Anyway, the point is that this is Brantley. Should I watch more? Or is that kind of the?
I think all the way up to the end is pretty good.
Okay, I'll watch it.
8 part?
I want. One guy is from Dearborn, Michigan, Mark. That's why I know so much about it. Okay, this is what I was talking about.
Skateboard to my car. It's right there. If it's even right there, fuck it. It's right there. But if it's far away, why not? It'll be fine. And if I see a car, I'm not a dumbass. I'm gonna see the car's there and I'm gonna stop.
Brantley,
Or get out of the way.
you have a mental disability known as Gen Z.
Ow! Fucking zinger, dude. Also,
Oh god.
What the fuck was that?
That is the greatest part about this whole thing, is that soundbite.
that sounds right.
So, is that like his rim shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he sometimes to just play that whenever he thinks he really got one over.
Sometimes you gotta support
It was
yourself,
too
you know?
easy.
Yeah.
Exit running was
I
like,
love that.
it's like you literally
I love
waiting
that so
for the
much.
opportunities.
So
Teenage
he's doing his own
girlfriends.
rim shots.
Bless her. She was like really passionate about what she was saying this.
It's the way he touches it.
I'm gonna stop.
Brantley,
Or get out of the way.
Spit.
you have a mental disability known as Gen Z.
Everywhere.
Fucking
Wow.
zinger, dude.
He's already like sheening in for the prayer before he's even finished his sentence.
Girls, I'm going to give you a heads up. If you ever meet a guy and he covers this much of his face all the time, he's hiding a lot. More than his face. Ooh.
Guys, are you hearing that? You've been called out. If you ever ask Steph out on a date, you best remove your cap.
There's a picture of him in the
beard.
in the pool, and he's literally got his t-shirt, his cap, his sunglasses. You can see like 10% of his face, and it's like, it's summer. Right. I've memed on Keemstar a little bit too much. I don't need him coming for me, Jesus. His channel's still way bigger. Mark, Michigan, Mark. Alliteration. Oh yeah, it's alliteration. English teacher's proud of you. Now I get to watch the whole stream back. Oh, babe, welcome back. I hope you had fun on the bus. So yeah. Ba-da-ba-bow. Let's get going.
Thank you everyone for joining us. See you next Thursday on our new day, and hopefully we'll be European champions too.
Let's manifest it like I did my brown car. Peace, guys. Peace and love. Bye.
Why is it like this? Instead of hate, it should be love, we invite it. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of hate, it should be love, we invite it.